The secret to looking 60 at 80. You know, as I sit here looking back on my life, I can't help but smile when people ask me how I managed to look 60 at 80. They say I must have some magic potion or secret formula. I always chuckle because the truth is, it's not about magic. It's about the little things you do every single day. But before I get to that, let me tell you something that might just surprise you. I wasn't always this energetic. In my 50s, I felt like I was aging faster than I should have. I was tired, sluggish, and the wrinkles seemed to appear overnight. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back at me. It scared me. I didn't want to grow old feeling weak and worn out. I wanted to live my golden years feeling alive, vibrant, and full of joy. The fear of losing my vitality, of becoming a shadow of who I once was, shook me to my core. I remember meeting an old friend who looked incredible for his age. He moved with ease. His eyes sparkled with energy. He laughed like he didn't have a care in the world. And there I was, feeling twice his age even though we were the same. It was then that I realized I had to change something. I didn't want to spend my days feeling tired and old. I wanted to feel alive. That's when my journey began. I started to pay attention to my habits. I stopped treating my body like it was invincible. I realized that just like a car needs maintenance to run smoothly, so does the human body. I began to eat differently. Not just for taste, but for nutrition. I started looking at food as fuel. I filled my plate with vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and healthy fats. I cut down on sugar and processed foods because they made me feel sluggish. I drank more water than I ever thought I needed. And slowly, I began to notice the change. My energy came back. My skin started to look better. I felt alive again. But it wasn't just about what I ate. I started moving my body every single day. Not because I wanted to look good, but because I wanted to feel good. I took long walks. I stretched every morning. I did simple exercises to keep my muscles strong. I didn't push myself too hard. I just stayed consistent. Even on days when I didn't feel like it. Especially on those days. Movement became my medicine. It kept me flexible. It kept me strong. It kept me young. Then there was the matter of my mind. You see, no one tells you how powerful your thoughts are. I used to think that growing old meant losing your purpose. But I was wrong. I learned that having something to wake up for every day keeps your spirit alive. I kept learning. I read books. I engaged in conversations that challenged my thinking. I stayed curious about life. And it made all the difference. I realized that the moment you stop being curious is the moment you truly grow old. Now, I have to be honest. It wasn't always easy. There were days when I wanted to give up. Days when I felt like nothing was working. But then I remembered how I used to feel before I started this journey. I remembered the tiredness, the fatigue, the fear of losing my vitality. And that fear pushed me to keep going. Because the truth is, the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Looking back now, I am grateful that I didn't give up. I'm grateful that I made those small changes. Because they made all the difference. People ask me how I still have the energy to play with my grandkids. How I still have the enthusiasm to travel and explore new places. How I manage to keep a smile on my face every single day. The answer is simple. I made a choice. A choice to live fully. A choice to take care of my body. A choice to nurture my mind. A choice to keep my spirit alive. I wish I could tell you that there's a shortcut. But there isn't. It takes effort. It takes discipline. It takes consistency. But it's worth it. Every single moment of it is worth it. I've lived long enough to see people grow old not just in body but in mind and spirit. I've seen people give up on life long before life gave up on them. And I've realized that growing old is inevitable. But growing dull is a choice. If you're wondering whether it's too late for you, let me tell you this. It's never too late. I started my journey in my 50s. And I feel better now than I did back then. It doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is that you make the choice. The choice to live fully. The choice to keep moving. The choice to keep learning. The choice to keep loving life. The secret to looking 60 at 80 isn't in some expensive cream or magic pill. It's in the little things you do every day. It's in the food you eat, the movement you make, the thoughts you think, the love you give, and the joy you find in the simplest of things. It's about staying curious, staying active, staying grateful. I don't feel 80. And that's because I don't live like I'm 80. I live like I'm alive. And that makes all the difference. If you take anything from my story, let it be this: age is just a number. What matters is how you choose to live. So make that choice. Today. Right now. Because life is too short to spend it feeling old. I look back on my journey and I realize that the fear I felt in my 50s was a blessing in disguise. It pushed me to change. It pushed me to grow. It pushed me to live. And now, at 80, I feel more alive than ever. I feel grateful. I feel joyful. I feel young. I've learned that youth isn't about the number of years you've lived. It's about the amount of life in your years. And that is something you can control. So choose to live fully. Choose to take care of your body. Choose to nurture your mind. Choose to keep your spirit alive. Because that, my friend, is the real secret to looking 60 at 80. What are the lesser-known but powerful practices that contribute to aging gracefully? One of the most powerful yet least talked about practices is learning to let go. I know it sounds simple. But trust me, it's harder than it seems. You see, as we go through life, we collect baggage, regrets, resentments, disappointments. I carried those heavy bags for years. They weighed on my spirit, made me feel older than I was. One day, I looked in the mirror and saw a tired old man staring back at me. That's when I knew I had to let go. I had to forgive myself for the mistakes I made. I had to forgive others for the hurt they caused me. It wasn't easy. But once I did, it felt like a weight had been lifted. My face looked brighter. My heart felt lighter. I realized that holding on to the past was making me old. Letting go was what set me free. Another practice that changed everything for me was staying curious. People think curiosity is for the young, but they're wrong. Curiosity keeps you young. It keeps your mind sharp and your spirit alive. I made it a habit to learn something new every day. It didn't have to be big or important. Sometimes, it was just a new word or a new recipe. Other times, it was a new skill or hobby. I learned how to paint in my 60s. I took up gardening in my 70s. And you know what? Every time I learned something new, I felt a spark of life inside me. It reminded me that there's always more to explore, more to discover, more to live for. Now, I can't talk about aging gracefully without mentioning gratitude. I know it sounds cliché, but it's more powerful than you think. I used to complain about everything: the weather, the traffic, the aches and pains that come with age. But then, I realized that every complaint was stealing my joy. So, I made a choice. Every morning, before I even got out of bed, I thought of 3 things I was grateful for. Some days, it was big things like my health or my family. Other days, it was small things like a good cup of coffee or the sound of birds outside my window. But no matter what, I always found something. And it changed my life. It changed how I saw the world. It made me happier. And that happiness showed on my face. People started telling me I looked younger. I didn't use any new creams or products. I just started being grateful. Another thing that kept me young was staying connected. And I don't just mean socializing. I mean truly connecting with people. Listening to them. Laughing with them. Sharing my thoughts and feelings. I used to keep to myself. I thought I didn't need anyone. But that loneliness was aging me faster than I realized. So, I made an effort to reach out. I reconnected with old friends. I made new ones. I joined groups that shared my interests. And I didn't just show up. I engaged. I laughed. I cried. I shared my life with them. And they shared theirs with me. Those connections filled my heart with love and joy. They gave me a reason to wake up every morning. They kept me young. There's one more practice that I think is more powerful than people realize. And that's laughter. I know it sounds silly, but laughter is the best anti-aging secret there is. When you laugh, you forget your worries. You forget your pain. You feel light. You feel free. I used to take life too seriously. I worried about every little thing. I stressed over things that didn't even matter. But then I realized that life is too short to be serious all the time. So, I started laughing more. I watched funny movies. I spent time with people who made me laugh. I even learned to laugh at myself, at my mistakes, at my fears. And you know what? I started feeling younger. I started looking younger. People noticed it. They asked me what my secret was. And I just smiled. Because my secret was simple. I chose joy. You see, the secret to aging gracefully isn't in some expensive product or complicated routine. It's in the way you live your life. It's in the way you see the world. It's in the way you let go of what weighs you down. It's in the way you stay curious and keep learning. It's in the way you find gratitude in the simplest of things. It's in the way you connect with others and share your heart with them. It's in the way you laugh, even when life is hard. Especially when life is hard. Looking back now, I realize that these practices did more than just keep me looking young. They kept me feeling alive. They gave me purpose. They gave me joy. And that joy showed on my face. In my eyes. In my smile. That's the real secret. It's not about trying to look young. It's about choosing to live young. How can one maintain curiosity and a love for life, and why does it matter for staying young? People often ask me how I've managed to keep my spirit so alive, even as the years have added lines to my face and silver to my hair. They look at me with curious eyes, wondering what my secret is. They want to know how I still find joy in the simplest things. How I still laugh like a child. How I still wake up every morning eager to see what the day has in store. The answer is simple, but it's one that most people overlook. It's curiosity. It's a love for life. It's a burning desire to keep learning, to keep exploring, to keep living fully. That's what keeps me young. Not just on the outside, but on the inside where it truly matters. You see, curiosity is the fountain of youth. It keeps your mind sharp and your heart open. It keeps you engaged with the world around you. It keeps you excited about life. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when I lost that spark. I fell into the routine of everyday life. I did the same things, saw the same people, thought the same thoughts. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And before I knew it, I was just going through the motions. I felt old. Not because of my age, but because my spirit was tired. I was bored. I was uninspired. I was stuck. Then one day, I watched a child playing in the park. She was so full of wonder. Everything amazed her. A butterfly. A puddle. A leaf blowing in the wind. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. Her laughter was pure joy. She reminded me of how I used to be. She reminded me of the simple truth that life is meant to be explored. It's meant to be lived with wide-eyed wonder. It's meant to be a journey of discovery. That was the day I decided to get my curiosity back. And it changed everything. I started small. I asked questions. I wondered about things I never thought to question before. Why is the sky blue? How does a bird know how to build a nest? What makes music sound beautiful? I didn't always find the answers. But the act of wondering made me feel alive. It made me feel young again. It reminded me that there's so much I don't know. So much to learn. So much to experience. And that realization filled me with excitement. It filled me with life. I also made it a habit to try new things. I went to places I'd never been. I tasted foods I'd never tried. I read books on topics I knew nothing about. I took classes just for the fun of learning. I learned to paint. I learned to dance. I learned to play the piano. Not because I wanted to be great at them, but because I wanted to experience the joy of learning something new. I wanted to feel that spark of curiosity again. And I did. Every new experience made me feel like a child discovering the world for the first time. It made me feel young. I surrounded myself with curious people. People who asked questions. People who loved to learn. People who were excited about life. Their curiosity inspired me. Their energy lifted me. We shared our thoughts, our ideas, our dreams. We learned from each other. We grew together. It reminded me that curiosity is contagious. When you surround yourself with curious minds, you can't help but become curious yourself. You can't help but feel alive. But the most powerful thing I did was to stay open. Open to new ideas. Open to different perspectives. Open to change. I realized that one of the biggest reasons people grow old in spirit is because they close themselves off. They get stuck in their ways. They stop learning. They stop growing. They stop being curious. And that's when they start to feel old. That's when life loses its magic. That's when the spark goes out. I didn't want that to happen to me. So, I stayed open. Even when it was uncomfortable. Even when it challenged my beliefs. Even when it scared me. I stayed open. And it kept me young. It kept my mind flexible. It kept my heart soft. It kept my spirit alive. I learned that maintaining curiosity and a love for life isn't about avoiding aging. It's about embracing it. It's about staying curious about every stage of life. It's about wondering what's next. It's about exploring new roles, new opportunities, new adventures. It's about realizing that life is a journey of discovery, no matter how old you are. It's about staying excited for tomorrow. That's why curiosity matters. It keeps you connected to the world. It keeps you connected to yourself. It keeps you growing. It keeps you learning. It keeps you living. And that's what keeps you young. Not the number of years you've been alive, but the amount of life you've put into those years. I may have more wrinkles now. My hair may be grayer. My body may not move as fast as it used to. But my spirit is young. My heart is full. My mind is alive with curiosity. I still wake up every morning excited to learn something new, to try something different, to see what the day has in store. And that's why I still feel young. That's why people tell me I look young. It's not because of some miracle cream or special diet. It's because of curiosity. It's because of a love for life. If you want to stay young, keep wondering, keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing. Stay curious. Stay open. Live fully. Love deeply. Laugh often. And never stop asking questions. Never stop being amazed by the world around you. Never stop discovering the beauty of life. Is there a spiritual or philosophical perspective that contributes to looking and feeling younger? I learned early on that youth is not just about the body. It's about the spirit. It's about how you see the world and how you see yourself. It's about how you carry your experiences. How you respond to challenges. How you embrace joy and pain alike. It's about living with a heart that is open, a mind that is curious, and a soul that is at peace. That's the real fountain of youth. It's not found in bottles or pills. It's found within. It's a way of being that keeps you vibrant, no matter how old you are. One of the most powerful spiritual perspectives I have embraced is the idea of acceptance. Life is full of change, full of loss, full of unexpected twists and turns. It's easy to get stuck in the past, to hold on to what was, to resist what is. But that resistance ages you. It weighs you down. It fills you with regret, bitterness, and sorrow. I learned that the key to staying young is to accept life as it comes, to let go of what was, to embrace what is, to trust that everything happens for a reason, even if you don't understand it at the moment. I learned to accept my wrinkles as marks of wisdom, to see my gray hair as a crown of experience, to feel gratitude for every year I have lived because each one has taught me something valuable. I learned to accept the losses, the heartbreaks, the disappointments. I stopped fighting against life and started flowing with it. And that acceptance brought me peace. It lightened my heart. It softened my face. It kept me young because I was no longer carrying the weight of resistance. I was free. Another powerful perspective that has kept me young is the practice of gratitude. It's easy to focus on what's wrong, on what's missing, on what could have been. But that kind of thinking drains your energy. It makes you bitter. It makes you old. I learned to focus on what's right, on what's beautiful, on what I have instead of what I lack. I learned to see the blessing in every situation, even the painful ones. I learned to be grateful for the simple things. A warm cup of tea, A good book. A kind word. A beautiful sunset. Gratitude fills your heart with joy. It lifts your spirit. It lights up your face with a smile that no cream or cosmetic can replicate. It keeps you young because it keeps you happy. It keeps you in love with life. And that love is what shines through your eyes and makes you glow from within. It's a beauty that no age can take away because it comes from your soul. I also embraced the philosophy of living in the present moment. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. The only thing that's real is the now. Worrying about the future ages you. Regretting the past ages you. But living fully in the present keeps you young. It keeps you engaged with life. It keeps you curious. It keeps you excited about what's happening right now, right here. I learned to savor each moment. To be fully present in everything I do. Whether it's drinking a cup of coffee, taking a walk, or having a conversation, I give my full attention to the experience. I notice the details. The sounds. The smells. The colors. The emotions. I immerse myself in the moment and appreciate it for what it is. And that makes me feel alive. It makes me feel young because I'm living fully, not lost in thoughts of yesterday or tomorrow. Forgiveness is another spiritual practice that keeps me young. Holding on to grudges is like drinking poison. It eats away at you. It hardens your heart. It ages your spirit. I learned to forgive, not for the sake of others, but for my own peace. I learned to let go of anger, resentment, and hurt. I learned to release the past and move forward with a light heart. That freedom from bitterness keeps my soul young. It keeps my face soft. It keeps my spirit light. It keeps me joyful, no matter what life brings. But perhaps the most important perspective that keeps me young is love. Love for life. Love for people. Love for myself. I learned that love is the most powerful anti-aging secret there is. When you live with love, you radiate a light that no wrinkle can dim. When you love yourself, you take care of yourself. You nourish your body. You nurture your mind. You feed your soul. And that love shows on your face. It sparkles in your eyes. It makes you beautiful, no matter how old you are. I learned to love with an open heart. To give freely. To receive gratefully. To forgive easily. To express my love without fear or hesitation. I learned to love life, even when it's hard. Even when it's painful. Even when it's messy. I learned to see beauty in everything. In the good times and the bad. In the joys and the sorrows. In the beginnings and the endings. And that love keeps me young because it keeps me connected to the essence of life. It keeps me alive in every sense of the word. What are the biggest regrets of those who did not age gracefully, and what can be learned from them? One of the biggest regrets I have heard is from those who didn't take care of their health. They chased after success, wealth, and recognition but neglected their bodies along the way. They ate poorly, skipped exercise, ignored warning signs, and pushed themselves to the limit without rest. They believed they were invincible until they weren't. I have seen them struggle with chronic pain, illness, and disability. I have seen them mourn the loss of their physical abilities, the freedom to move, to travel, to play with their grandchildren. They regret not taking better care of themselves when they were younger. They wish they had made their health a priority instead of an afterthought. And what I learned from them is this: your body is the only place you have to live. Take care of it. Nourish it. Move it. Rest it. Listen to it. Don't wait until it's too late. Another common regret is from those who didn't nurture their relationships. They were too busy, too distracted, or too proud to invest time and love into their connections. They took people for granted, assuming they would always be there. They held on to grudges, refusing to forgive. They let their egos get in the way of reconciliation. And then one day, those people were gone. Sometimes through death, sometimes through distance, and sometimes through the slow erosion of neglect. I have seen them sit by empty chairs, longing for one more conversation, one more hug, one more chance to say, "I love you" or "I'm sorry." They regret not spending more time with loved ones, not making more memories, not being present. They wish they had put down their phones, turned off the TV, and truly connected. And what I learned from them is this: people are more important than things. Love is more important than pride. Time is precious, and once it's gone, you can never get it back. Cherish the people you love. Tell them how much they mean to you. Forgive. Let go of grudges. Don't wait until it's too late. There are also those who regret not pursuing their dreams. They played it safe, choosing security over passion. They stayed in jobs they hated, relationships that drained them, or situations that suffocated them because they were afraid of the unknown. They listened to the voices that told them to be realistic, to be practical, to settle. And now, they look back and wonder what could have been. They wonder what kind of life they could have lived if they had followed their hearts, taken risks, and believed in themselves. They feel the weight of unfulfilled potential, of dreams left to wither away. They regret not being true to themselves, not living authentically, not taking chances. And what I learned from them is this: life is too short to live someone else's dream. It's too short to play small, to hide your light, to settle for less than you deserve. Follow your passion. Take risks. Be brave enough to pursue the life you truly want. Don't let fear hold you back. Then, there are those who regret not taking time to enjoy life. They were always chasing something. Success, money, status, perfection. They were always busy, always stressed, always in a hurry. They postponed happiness, thinking they would enjoy life later, when they reached a certain milestone or goal. But later never came. Or when it did, they were too tired, too sick, or too old to enjoy it. I have seen them look back and realize they missed the simple joys of life. The sunsets, the laughter, the quiet moments of peace. They regret not slowing down, not being present, not savoring life's little pleasures. They wish they had danced more, laughed more, played more, lived more. And what I learned from them is this: life is happening now. Don't wait for someday to enjoy it. Don't get so caught up in the hustle that you forget to live. Find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Savor the moments. Be present. Live fully. Lastly, there are those who regret not being kinder to themselves. They were their own worst critics. They were hard on themselves, constantly striving for perfection, never feeling good enough. They let shame, guilt, and self-doubt rule their lives. They compared themselves to others, measuring their worth by external standards. And now they see how much time they wasted feeling unworthy, how much energy they spent beating themselves up, how much joy they missed because they didn't feel they deserved it. They regret not loving themselves, not being gentle with themselves, not accepting themselves as they were. And what I learned from them is this: be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Accept your flaws. Celebrate your strengths. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would give to someone you love. You are worthy, just as you are. Don't let self-criticism steal your joy. If you could go back in time, what would you do differently to maintain your vitality even better? If I could go back in time and do things differently, knowing what I know now, I would take better care of my vitality. I would make choices that not only preserved my health, but also kept my spirit alive and my mind sharp. Looking back, I see the mistakes I made and the lessons I learned. And if I could change the past, I would live more wisely, more mindfully, and with greater appreciation for the gift of life. It is not that I lived poorly. I did many things right. But there are a few things I would do differently to maintain my vitality even better. First, I would pay more attention to my body. When I was young, I took my health for granted. I ate whatever I wanted, stayed up late, and pushed my body to its limits without a second thought. I believed that my youth made me invincible. But the truth is, every choice you make leaves its mark. If I could go back, I would eat more nourishing foods. I would fill my plate with colorful vegetables, fresh fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins. I would choose real, unprocessed foods that fuel the body instead of weighing it down. I would drink more water and less sugar. I would eat mindfully, savoring each bite instead of rushing through meals. And I would avoid the temptations that offered momentary pleasure but long-term harm. I would also prioritize movement. Not just exercise, but movement. I would walk more, stretch more, dance more, and keep my body active every day. When you stop moving, you start aging. The body was made to move, to bend, to stretch, to jump, to run. I see that now. I see how stiffness and pain come from a life of too much sitting, too much convenience, and too little activity. If I could go back, I would find joy in movement. I would play more, swim more, hike more, and explore more. I would make movement a part of my life, not a chore or a task to check off a list. And I would take better care of my posture, my flexibility, and my strength. Sleep. Oh, how I underestimated the power of sleep. I used to think of sleep as wasted time, hours that could be better spent working, studying, or having fun. But now I see that sleep is the foundation of vitality. It is when the body heals, when the mind rests, and when the spirit rejuvenates. If I could go back, I would respect my need for rest. I would create a calming bedtime routine. I would turn off screens, dim the lights, and let my mind unwind before bed. I would go to sleep at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning, allowing my body to find its natural rhythm. I would listen to my body when it needed rest and not push through exhaustion. Looking back, I also see how much stress I carried. Worrying about the future, dwelling on the past, trying to control things beyond my reach. Stress steals your vitality. It weighs you down, tightens your chest, and drains your energy. If I could go back, I would learn to let go. I would practice mindfulness, staying present in the moment instead of letting my mind race with anxiety. I would learn to breathe deeply, to relax my muscles, and to release tension. I would not sweat the small stuff or let anger linger in my heart. I would choose peace over perfection, acceptance over resistance, and gratitude over discontent. One of my biggest regrets is not spending more time in nature. I was always busy, always rushing from one place to another. I stayed indoors too much, surrounded by walls, screens, and noise. If I could go back, I would spend more time under the open sky. I would watch more sunrises and sunsets. I would walk barefoot on the grass, feel the wind on my face, and listen to the birds sing. I would find peace in the mountains, joy by the sea, and calm in the forests. Nature heals the soul. It grounds you, refreshes you, and fills you with wonder. It connects you to something bigger than yourself. If I could go back, I would make time for nature every day. I would also take better care of my mind. I would keep learning, keep growing, and keep challenging my brain. I would read more books, learn new skills, and solve puzzles to keep my mind sharp. I would have deeper conversations, listen more, and seek wisdom from others. I would surround myself with positive, inspiring people who lift me up and encourage me to be my best self. I would avoid negative influences that drain my energy and cloud my mind. And I would practice gratitude every day, focusing on what I have instead of what I lack. But most of all, I would cherish the people in my life. If I could go back, I would spend more time with loved ones. I would put away distractions and be fully present with them. I would listen to their stories, laugh with them, cry with them, and share my heart with them. I would forgive more easily and love more deeply. I would not let pride, anger, or fear keep me from connecting with the people I care about. I would make more memories, take more photos, and create more traditions. I would hold on to the moments of joy, of love, of friendship, of laughter. Because those moments are the true essence of vitality. Looking back, I see the choices I made and the ones I did not make. I see the moments I wasted and the moments I cherished. I see the things I took for granted and the things I appreciated. If I could go back, I would live more intentionally. I would choose vitality every day. Not just physical vitality, but mental, emotional, and spiritual vitality. I would live with purpose, with passion, and with gratitude. I cannot change the past, but I can share my lessons with you. I can encourage you to live fully, to love deeply, and to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. Because in the end, vitality is not just about living long. It is about living well. And that is the secret to a life without regrets. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel, so until next time, take care.